This is Dan Scholes for the Folktale Project, and I just wanted to say again, thank you so much for such a wonderful 2019. The story you're about to hear is one of your favorites, the top 3 from 2019, and I can't wait to come back in 2020 with 3 new tales. Well, 3 new tales each week. As always, thank you so much for listening. Welcome to the Folktale Project. This is Dan Scholes. This week we're in China for 3 new tales from the Chinese fairy book. And today's story it's really interesting. It's one that has a premise that I did not know beforehand about the life and hibernation of a dragon. This is The Dragon After His Winter Sleep. Once there was a scholar who was reading in the upper story of his house. It was a rainy, cloudy day, and the weather was gloomy. Suddenly, he saw a little thing which shone like a firefly. It crawled upon the table, and wherever it went it left traces of burns curved like the tracks of a rainworm. Gradually, it wound itself about the scholar's book, and the book, too, grew black. Then it occurred to him that it might be a dragon, so he carried it out of doors on the book. There he stood for quite some time, but it sat uncurled without moving in the least. Then the scholar said, "It shall not be said of me that I was lacking in respect." With these words, he carried back the book and once more laid it on the table. Then he put on his robes of ceremony, made a deep bow, and escorted the dragon out on it again. No sooner had he left the door than he noticed that the dragon raised his head and stretched himself. Then he flew up from the book with a hissing sound like a radiant streak. Once more he turned around toward the scholar, and his head had already grown to the size of a barrel, while his body must have been a full fathom in length. He gave one more snaky twist, and then there was a terrible crash of thunder, and the dragon went sailing through the air. The scholar then returned and looked to see which way the little creature had come, and he could follow his tracks hither and thither to his chest of books. And that is The Dragon After His Winter Sleep, in which we learn that those dragons of Chinese history, large and swirling and just amazingly, breathtakingly beautiful, they hibernate in the winter. And when they hibernate, they shrink down, 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 to the size of an insect. That is amazing. I love that. This is Dan Scholes for the Folktale Project. Don't forget that you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Overcast, anywhere you like to get your podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter at Folktale Project. You can always support the project over at Patreon, patreon.com/folktaleproject. You can find us on Auto Radio, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere you'd like to listen. And you can always head over to folktaleproject.com, where you'll find a new story waiting for you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. As always, thank you so much for listening.